Andy Wilson says he's got a great surname.
That's right.
Debatable. Debatable. Brewer raising it up with a very beautiful looking 7-8 of hearts.
In this episode of Weekly Poker Hand, we get to watch two titans of poker battle it out. We have Sam Soverel. He's been battling at the highest stakes for a long time. And Chris Brewer, who has over $18 million in live tournament earnings. And I am excited to announce that he is the newest guest coach at PokerCoaching.com. And he has some content coming out very soon in our brand new advanced cash game course. You're going to learn a ton about cash games in this course if you're a Poker Coaching member. So make sure you check that out. That will be released very soon, featuring some content from Chris. In this hand, we are playing with 4 players left in the $25,000 buy-in U.S. Poker Open tournament. We're at the final table. All the stacks are pretty similar and very deep. Notice everyone has 50 big blinds or more. Folds around to Chris Brewer on the button with 8-7 of hearts. He puts in a standard raise. Over around to Sam with the big stack in the big blind with pocket threes. Some people think that the big stack should always be 3-betting with all sorts of stuff because they want to apply pressure to the medium stacks. But in this scenario, there's not any short stacks. So yeah, Sam should be 3-betting a little bit more than normal, but a hand like pocket threes definitely wants to call and see the flop. So let's see it.
Brewer to win, please. He seems like fun. Yes, definitely a fun guy. Always very chatty. It's one of the things I always notice when I'm at the PokerGo studio is how chatty these guys are when it's just day one of the tournament. Of course, right now it's pretty serious. We're playing for a lot of money. The stacks aren't super deep, so every decision has major implications. But when you just walk around the tournament floor, just to, you know, I guess eavesdrop a little bit on the tables, there's always some interesting discussion going on.
The flop comes ace, ace, 9. This is a situation where Sam in the big blind will re-raise with a lot of his best aces before the flop, plus maybe even some weaker aces as a bluff to apply ICM pressure. So he's not going to have many of the best aces in the spot, and maybe not a whole lot of aces in general. So he checks over around to Brewer. This is a spot where Chris Brewer is going to raise a lot of ace-X from the button, perhaps almost all of them. So this is a situation where he has a big range advantage and a big nut advantage. So he should be betting this situation very frequently, perhaps every single time, usually using a small-ish size, and that's exactly what he does. He goes 75,000 into the 275,000 pot. Over around to Soverel. He has a pair. You can't fold a pair. He calls. Let's go to the turn.
Brewer continues for 70K. Soverel not ready to let this one go. And that 8, of course, is going to turn the tables. In situations like this, Donnie, if you're Soverel, is it one of those cases where you're just going to take off one card and then see what's going to happen on the turn? Or is this like you have to have a plan just to begin with when you have a smaller pair on a flop with overcards?
I mean, I think that is basically the plan right there. You know, just...
The turn is a nasty 8 of clubs. It kills Soverel's hand, but it doesn't really give Brewer all that premium of a hand either. So Soverel checks. I have to presume he's probably just going to check fold at this point because he could very easily be drawing super duper thin, maybe even dead. And Brewer in this spot just has an easy check. A lot of people think that perhaps he should bet to protect against the various clubs that Soverel could have. The thing is, though, is that if he bets and gets called, he's going to be against either a very high equity draw or just a better made hand. And yeah, Soverel's probably not going to have a ton of ace-X, but he certainly has some of those. And Soverel's never folding a 9, and of course, never folding a flush or a better 8 if he happens to have a hand like King 8. So this is a very, very easy check back with a clear marginal made hand. And Brewer at this point is just hoping to see a somewhat cheap showdown.
Take off one card and go from there. You do have showdown value. Probably not the biggest fan, though, of Chris Brewer checking back the turn. If Brewer had complete air, he might fire again. Checking back kind of makes it seem like he's got some sort of showdown value.
Soverel now with the full house. I mean, how can you fold a full house?
Might just be a little blocking bet here.
One big blind.
Just trying to control the size of the pot, the money that goes in on the river. You know, if he checks and Brewer puts in a bet closer to the size of the pot, then, you know, Soverel is just basically playing a guessing game for a larger amount of chips than he'd be willing to put in.
The river is another ace. At this point, a full house is pretty good. And Soverel, with his, medium equity hand, goes for a 1 big blind bet. I love this play with very medium strength hands, plus a few bluffs, plus a few super nuts, like an ace. And I have to imagine Soverel is going to be balancing his range very well in this scenario against a good, strong GTO player like Chris Brewer. So at this point, both players have a full house, but Brewer's is a little bit better. So what I want to know is that what would you do in this situation facing a 1 big blind bet for 50,000 chips? Would you just call and see if you win? Would you raise the minimum to 100,000? Would you raise bigger to 300,000? Or would you blast your entire stack in? Take a second, think about it, and let me know what you would do in the comment section down below.
I don't think Brewer is folding. The question is, does he want to get frisky with a raise here, try and get some more value? Or is he just going to call? And there is the raise.
Wow, 300K, sizable raise.
I think Brewer's reading the situation correctly.
I think a lot of people in this situation just call. They take the easy way out. And look, to be fair, if you think your opponent is especially tricky and especially trappy, and they're going to have a lot of ace-X in their range when they do bet 1 big blind, then maybe that's okay. But Brewer recognizes that most of the hands that Sam is going to be betting on the river are going to be weak full houses, king high, a little bit of nuts, and a little bit of bluffs. So how does an 8 do against the worst full houses in king high, which is most of Sam's range? Well, it's actually crushing them. So Brewer does go for a raise, and he puts in a raise that actually allows him to have some number of bluffs. If you raise the minimum in this situation, yes, you're going to get called a lot, but you're not really extracting much value. You're reopening the action in exchange for not getting much value, which you usually don't want to do in your own position. And, that's not great. So I love Brewer's raise at 300,000 in this scenario. I think it is an excellent play that a lot of people do not go for, and that leaves a little bit of value on the table. The best players in the world fight hard for this little bit of value, and it turns out that's how you become one of the biggest winners in the game. Let's see if Sam, with his full house, can find a fold.
Soverel gives it up.
Nice disciplined fold there.
After much deliberation, Sam folds his full house. For all the old school players out there, the Captain Zebo theorem has been debunked. Sam has broken history. He made a big fold, and it turns out he was right this time. But he doesn't get to see what Chris Brewer has, and by putting in this raise, Brewer's going to keep Sam guessing, at least until he watches the live stream. So nice pickup from Brewer, and I love the way he played this one. If you want to learn from Chris Brewer, remember, he is a new guest coach at my training site, PokerCoaching.com. He's going to have some content coming out in our advanced cash game course that will be released before the end of the year. There's a ton of content there. Make sure you check it out. It's the best cash game stuff I've ever seen in my life. So check it out. You will learn a ton. Good luck in your games. Have fun. Make the most of your opportunities. Click the like and subscribe button down below before you leave. And if you want another video, we have a fun one where Dan Legrand makes an insane read. Enjoy it.